Hi friends, I'm Amy and this is A Star Reads, and it's time for my May Whodunnit Readathon TBR, which I'm very excited about. This is a readathon that's going to go the whole month of May, and it's being hosted by some of my favorite booktubers. So I'm just really excited to be able to participate in this with them, and hopefully it'll help with the slump I've been in, the reading slump I've been in. I was reading more mood read-ish in the month of April, and then towards the end of the month, which is now, I've just started a whole bunch of books and I just can't continue because for some reason reading at the moment is not appealing. So hopefully in May with this readathon, maybe with a new start to another month, I'll be back in the mood for reading and I'll be hopefully completing books. We'll see. We'll see. So this is a readathon based on Clue or Cluedo, depending on where you live. The three booktubers that are hosting the Whodunnit Readathon are Paige from Pages with Paige, Danielle from Bookara, and Naomi from Naomi's Bookshelf. I'm going to link all their channels down below. They're wonderful booktubers. They have a lot of great insight on books, and they're my friends. So I'm very excited for them. I'm very excited for this readathon. This is my second time doing this, and I think I succeeded last time. I am not as sure about this year, just because, like I said, my reading has not been the best this last month. Anyways, the way that I want to pick my books this time around for it is based off of Paige's recommendations video. What she did was she randomly drew 3 clues, so the suspect, the weapon, and the room that it occurred in from her set of Cluedo cards. And then she picked a book that would match all 3 of those. Much more challenging, but I want to do it. I'm actually going to be playing as Mr. Green, and he has a special ability of flipping a coin, and if it lands on heads, then I automatically get to reveal a suspect, a weapon, and a room, which those are who wouldn't be whodunit, or for the weapon or the room, and that'll help me towards solving the mystery in the end. If I get tails, then I automatically have to read 6 books, at least 6 books. So with this readathon, because you can stack prompts in the sense that you can do 1 suspect, 1 weapon, and 1 room, or you can do 2 prompts if you want to, you could get away with only reading 3 books for the month. But if I flip tails, I'll have to read at least 6 books. So I'm a bit of a gambler, you know, and I like a bit of a challenge. So I decided to go with flipping a coin, and I'm gonna show you the footage of that here.
I gotta find out what Mr. Green's gonna do.
Oh yeah, flip that coin, girl.
Should I flip it with y'all on here?
Yeah.
Oh, Alexa, flip a coin.
Okay. You got tails.
No! Alexa,
Amy's like,
you suck.
Amy's like, no, I didn't flip it, so it doesn't count.
It doesn't count.
Ah,
it counts.
No. Oh no!
Excited that you're excited.
Oh, it counts for me. Oh no!
Does it count for both of us?
I mean, it can if you wanted to. It doesn't have to. Like, you can just flip it in your game. I don't care.
I think it counts for
minimum
both of us,
of 6.
Look,
I think it counts for both of us.
Book anyway.
Okay, well, I mean, I wasn't. Okay, so tails. I'm gonna do it. Minimum.
No, Alexa, it doesn't count. It has to be Amy's.
Oh, my secret.
That C coin.
Maybe I should do 2 flips. Minimum of. Oh, Alicia, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm. You can do best out of 3.
Okay, and then
wins.
Danielle, you have to have some way of flipping a coin.
Well, I already did my dice
It's not
roll.
going to be applicable.
No, for me. So
Amy.
best out of 3.
Oh, okay.
Okay, are we ready?
More entertaining than I thought it would be. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It both says rough seats.
Smooth sailing. Heads.
Oh!
You're the tiebreaker. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh.
I'm scared.
Yeah, you should be.
You can fuck Amy over or not. Here we go. Oh. Wait, was yeah, oh, okay.
I haven't flipped it yet.
This is
Is
weird.
that heads or tails?
Yeah, you're doing good. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Oh!
It's tails. Oh no.
everything you did was good to you. And the two of us.
I thought you liked me. I thought y'all really liked me.
I do really like you.
Decided my fate. Decided my fate. That's okay. I'm excited. It's okay. I'm excited.
So, I flipped tails. I'm gonna have to read at least 6 books. So, Paige figured this out, and there's a couple of ways I can do this with stacking prompts. And the one way that I'm gonna go with is 1 triple, meaning a suspect, a weapon, and a room. 1 double could be either a suspect and a weapon, or a room and a weapon, or a room and a suspect. And then 4 singles. So like for 4 books, I can only count 1 of the prompts or 1 of the clues. I say prompts, but I mean clues, but the clues kind of act as prompts. So for this video though, and for picking my 6 books, I really just want to do 3 clues for each one. So what I'm going to do when I'm actually finishing the books is I will only count the clues for what will work for what I have remaining. So like the first book I read, I'll probably use all 3 clues. But then the second book I read, even though I originally chose a book based off 3 clues, I will only use the 2 clues or 2 of the clues to reveal. So then when I'm finished with my 6 books, I will have revealed the 9 clues. And then I'll be able to hopefully find out who done it and then go on to the challenge, because there's a challenge spinner wheel sort of thing. And I haven't really figured out at all what I want to do for that, or if I want to do like one versus the other, because there's like an actual challenge prompt where you can do things. And then there's a reading challenge prompt spinner wheel. So I don't know about that yet. I'll worry about that later. Right? I don't think we do that till the end anyways. I don't think we do that to the end anyways. I guess I gotta go back and watch some announcement videos. I've been a little out of it this last week, so I'm a little... So let's hope I can get through this and explain things and not make the whole editing process too big of a mess. Okay, so for my first set, because I'm going to tell you about the 6 books that I'll be reading for this readathon, I'm going to choose a suspect, a weapon, and a room for each and every one, even if I don't end up using all of those clues to solve the mystery. I still think it'd be fun. I'm using a Family Guy version of Clue because this is all I have. And so some of the weapons and some of the rooms, the characters are the same. I mean, like, they're the characters from Family Guy, but like they work out for the colors of the characters. Those work out. The weapons are sometimes different and the rooms are definitely sometimes different. So I'm just gonna make it work as I go. I kind of have an idea of what each one could work for. And so we'll see how it goes. And I picked up the wrong one, so let me get the right ones going. Okay, so this should be my suspects. My first suspect is gonna be Stewie or Mrs. Peacock. Okay. So Mrs. Peacock with, let me get my weapons. Ooh, Brian's leash, which I'm also considering the rope. So Brian's leash is the rope. So Mrs. Peacock with the rope, where did she do it? In the basement. Is that an actual room? Let me look at my cheat sheet. We've got the hall, the lounge, the dining room, the kitchen, the ballroom, the conservatory, the billiards room, the library, and the study. We don't have the basement. So in the basement, I think of basements as either being a utility room or a leisure room, because a lot of people put their like game rooms and things like that in the basement. So maybe I'll go with the billiard room, although I have another one I think works for billiard room. Oh, ballroom, because where else am I going to have a ballroom? Let's go with ballroom. I'm going to say that the best place that you could put a ballroom would be in the basement, because oftentimes they're like continuous, like there's not usually walls in the basement. Good place for dancing and spreading out. I'm going to say that the basement is the ballroom. So I've got to find a book that has Mrs. Peacock, aka Stewie, with Brian's leash or the rope, and it will happen in the basement or in the ballroom, which is funny because basements aren't that elegant, which I think ballrooms are. But I'm going with more like space and the leisure aspect, like the fun part of it. Okay, so for book number 1, we're starting out with a very big book. However, I'm so excited to read this. Honestly, the last 2 books, I was happy to read, and I was looking forward to reading it with my reading group, Bookstar read-alongs. However, they were daunting, and I just wasn't feeling as much in the mood as much as I enjoyed those reads. It just was hard for me to read because I think I wasn't in that vibe. Like, I wasn't in the vibe at the time. At this point, I've been having a really hard time not already picking up the third book in the Greenbone Saga, because now I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood to read Jade Legacy by Fonda, especially the ending of this, and I know this is going to destroy. It's going to destroy. And so I picked this for Mrs. Peacock because, well, blue cover, but also because I know this is going to make me very sad. I've heard that this book just makes people sob. I can already tell you with the way I started forming attachments, especially in the second book, I'm growing attached to these characters, and Fonda has a history of not being so kind to said characters. So I'm nervous. I'm nervous to see what's going to happen in this one. I'm going to use this for rope because everybody is tied together within this in a way that makes it so if you do one thing, it affects somebody else. And this is very convoluted. There's a lot of knots within this. And I just feel like it works well because, like, even within the countries, like, there's this big war. So things are just tied. Everybody's actions are tied to somebody else's. I feel like that works for rope. Like, the rope extends throughout all these different people, it extends throughout all these different countries. And if something happens one place, it will affect people in other places, so it's all connected in some way. And of course, there's a lot of knots and twists and turns and things like that within the story. So I think that works really, really well. And then for Ballroom, everything is very heavily orchestrated. It's all together, they have to be cohesive, they have to work as a unit. And I think of dance when I think of that. I think of things that are beautifully created. I feel like that reminds me of when you're watching a dance set and they have spent so much time planning everything out. There's so many little details, so much beauty in the orchestration of it. But at the same time, there's a lot of highs and lows, and depending on the music you use or the dance moves, it can be very exciting and thrilling, or it can be very subdued. There's a lot of emotion that's conveyed in dance. And I mean, I can twist anything to make it work. There's a lot of partners in this that are working together, working against each other. There's a lot about this that I think works well for Ballroom. And there is a certain level of image that goes into this because these two clans have to keep an image, like they're playing a part that they have to show to the outside world, to the public, because they have to keep the public at a place where they agree with them or they can support them. So they're almost playing a role as well, whereas you get to see all the reality of who they are as people, who they are as individuals behind the scenes. And that's not always what's presented to the outside world. So then I think of presentation as well. You think of performing. And yeah, I'm making this work. Okay, so for the second book, I'm gonna pick a person. Let's see. Peta. Peta is Colonel Mustard. Yeah, Colonel Mustard. Look, he's got that mustard color. Okay, so Peta is Colonel Mustard. I say Peta because that's the way it's pronounced. That's the way Lois always pronounced it. Peta. So Peter. Let's see what our weapon is going to be. Come on. Why are you doing this? Okay. What's our weapon going to be? There's my neighbor. Hello, neighbor. It's kind of weird because he's coming right towards me and I don't want him to see. I know, weird, right? Like, who cares? But, okay. Peter is going to be using the, poison clam chowder. I love this one. So there were several weapons that were possibilities that weren't completely matched with the ones in a regular game of Clue. And I pulled the ones that I thought were most fun or matched the most. And I chose poisoned clam chowder because I'm going to consider this the lead pipe. And the reason I'm considering it lead pipe is because I think of lead as being a poisonous material, poisoned clam chowder. You've also got that metal thing in there, and that's why. And maybe because, I mean, poisoned clam chowder sounds like it's gonna make you real sick, and I know a lot of people hate when the lead pipe comes up, or at least when it comes to prompts, hate using the lead pipe because it's not the easiest weapon to translate into a prompt. So yeah, now I'm just making stuff up. Okay, so Peter, Colonel Mustard with the lead pipe. And where did it happen? Where did it happen, Peter? What were you doing in the... Oh, too many. That one. in Meg's bedroom, murdering people in Meg's bedroom. I dropped one too. Okay, so Meg's bedroom. It looks like this. What could Meg's bedroom be? We've got, oh, I know. She's got flowers on her pillow. So I'm gonna go with, can you see that? Probably not. It doesn't want to focus when I'm like this. But there's flowers on her pillow. So I'm gonna go with the conservatory because I'm just trying to make it work as much as I can. And there's no Meg's bedroom in the original Clue game. For the second book, I got the 3 clues. Colonel Mustard with a lead pipe in the conservatory. And for that, I'm actually gonna go with The Guest List by Lucy Foley. I'm very excited about this one, finally. This is one of my 5-star prediction reads, and I am really trying to get those read because I think I put that video out like 2 years ago now at this point. So I need to read my 5-star predictions so I can finally do a reaction video and see if I actually predicted 5 stars for all of these correctly. So, The Guest List by Lucy Foley. The reason it works for Colonel Mustard, obviously there's popping yellow on this, but I'm also thinking of the colors, mustard yellow, being sort of like a scared feeling. Like I think about the emotions oftentimes when I think of colors. So like yellow is you're scared, you're fearful of something. And this is a thriller, horror thriller, mostly a thriller, I think, right? So I think that works really well for the color of yellow. For lead pipe, I was thinking about the toxic element of this, and I think that this situation, and they're going to be forced into proximity with each other on this little secluded island. It's going to be a very toxic situation because there are people there who maybe shouldn't be together, you know, within the same location, have histories that are really problematic and cause them to butt heads, and eventually maybe leads to death or whatever ends up happening in this. And of course, I was also thinking, like, I don't know how they're going to die in this, but if they're on this secluded island, unless somebody brought a gun with them, they probably will either get hit on the head with something, so lead pipe being something heavy and dense when you hit them over the head, or it could be something in the food. Somebody could end up dying of poisoning. So that works both ways for lead pipe, and there's a good chance. I have no clue how people are gonna die in this, but there's a good chance it could be either blunt force trauma or being poisoned. For conservatory, I was looking at this little island and all the greenery and stuff on it. I'm also thinking of flowers and all the stuff that you have at a wedding to beautify it up. You know, conservatories I think of being beautiful because of the colors of the flowers, of the plants, how fresh they are. And oftentimes weddings feel that way. They're done up, they're beautiful, they're made to look aesthetically pleasing. You often feel fresh and new because you dress yourself up, you get yourself all fancied up for a wedding. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of conservatory for this one. And I'm excited for this. And it'll be a bit of a change of pace because I feel like I haven't been reading enough mysteries, and right now I might be in the mood for this. Book number 3, let's see what I'm gonna get. Okay. I keep dropping the cards. I'm telling you, I'm a mess right now, I'm a mess. Okay. So annoying. So annoying. Okay, here we go. This one. Brian as, who's the purple one? Plum, Professor Plum, Professor Plum. Oh, I like that. And he looks kind of like, you know, Brian with his copious amounts of information, looking professor-ish there. Brian killed with the pirate sword, which I'm using as the knife, I think. Yeah, that's gonna be the knife. In which room? Oh, Chris's bedroom. Come on, there are some that are like 1-to-1. Chris's bedroom. What's hard about this is that he has green on his bed, which would have worked for a conservatory also. What else does he have in here? He has a computer. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. Although Chris is probably not the one I would put with the study very much as far as it being Chris, but because there's a computer in this picture, I'm gonna say that this is the study. So we've got Professor Plum with the pirate sword or the knife. Professor Plum with the knife in the study. For book number 3, it is Professor Plum with the knife in the study. And for that, I'm actually going to go with Stardoc by SL Viehl. And I'm very excited about this one because it's A sci-fi that I've been wanting to get to for a while. It's one that Mom, I think, and Shell has also read. My mom and my best friend Shell have read. And I've had this on my TBR for a long time because we have a good portion of the series. I don't know if it's the whole series, but we have a good portion of the series. And I read the first chapter of this for one of my Try a Chapter in a Coffees. And one of the things I'm trying to do, I'm hoping to get out, is a vlog where I actually read some of those books that I saved from the Try a Chapter in a Coffee, because like it doesn't make sense to put out those videos and then not actually read the books. So I'm hoping to get to this one as well as another book this month in May. This also actually works for TBR Knockout, which is a yearly challenge that was created by Melanie from Completely Melanie. And for the month of May, the theme for TBR Knockout is May the 4th be with you. And so the first prompt is to read a book that is sci-fi. And so I'm picking Stardoc as the book for that. And this is a sci-fi that I think is going to be like really quick and easy to read, like a fun sci-fi. So the reason that I think it works for these 3 clues is, for one, for Professor Plum, there is a certain level of learning she has to do because she's a human accepting a position on another planet, and she has to learn all about these different aliens that she's going to have to be a doctor for. And it's just something completely new and different for her. So she's going to have to learn a lot. And also for Professor Plum, another one of the interpretations is a book featuring a detective. And I wouldn't say that she's a detective, but I would say that there is a mystery surrounding her. And so there is an aspect of mystery to this book because there's something that is secretive about her that nobody knows that could change the course of her whole experience working on this planet where they hate humans. They actually hate humans. And she is having to be this doctor with a whole bunch of aliens that I imagine don't trust her that much. So I'll be interested to see how well that fits with the Professor Plum aspect. For the knife, she has a scalpel in her hand. Sorry, it's not going to look great because it doesn't like me to zoom in from this angle. If I turn it around, it likes me zooming in that way. But she has a knife, and she's a surgeon, or at least she does work as a doctor that allows her to perform some surgeries, and so I think that that works really well. And for study, it kind of goes along with Professor Plum. She is learning so much. She is educating herself on this new place. She's also helping teach aliens from this other planet to see humans in a different light. We hope, unless her secret comes out and then they change their perspective on her. But the idea is that there's a lot of learning and educating going on here from both sides, I would imagine. So I think that that works really well for these 3 prompts, and I'm gonna use it for them. So I'm very excited about this one and hoping to get that vlog out sometime in May. Next, we're gonna have Chris. Speaking of Chris, we've got Mr. Green. He's looking a little green there for some reason. He just looks a little, What did he kill somebody with? The thinking grenades. Oh, I put this as the candlestick. I'm thinking of this as a candlestick because grenades blow up. So think of like a release of heat and energy and light, when that's what I was thinking about with, because there was no other ones I don't think that were in this Family Guy version that worked for candlestick. So I know that candlestick is the actual stick and you're hitting them with a blunt object, but in this case I'm using the light aspect of it and the fire aspect of it to choose it. So this is going to be candlestick. So Mr. Green with the candlestick, where did he do it? In the dining room, which is a 1-for-1. I love that. Okay, so I can actually use that for exactly what it is. For book number 4, we've got Mr. Green with the candlestick in the dining room. And for this one, I'm going with Spin by Robert Charles Wilson. This is another sci-fi. And it also works for TBR Knockout for the second prompt. The second prompt is a book that somehow represents the number 4 because May the 4th. And this has 4 letters in the title. The reason that I think this works for Mr. Green with the candlestick in the dining room is, for one, there is quite a bit of green in this, in the spin here. It's, I don't know what that is. And there's green in the hollow aspect of it too. But also, one of the aspects of Mr. Green is that it can be a faith-based book. And this isn't a faith-based book, but there is a character in this that turns to religious fanaticism. And I think that that works really well for that. Plus, it says like mob-related money, finances, gambling, casinos. There isn't that, I don't think, in this, but there are high stakes to some of the things that the characters are doing in this. And I feel like some of the aspects that they're being shown or being presented to the earth, or some of the things that are happening can have worldwide consequences is what the impression that I get. So I think because of that, I've got that gambling sort of like high stakes element to it. So I think this works really well. Plus, like, it's got the green on the cover, so it can work. And then for the Candlestick, at the very beginning of this, because I did read the first chapter, they're stargazing. So they're up there looking at sources of light, and something illuminating happens that changes the world, changes everything in an instant. And it is shocking, it's scary, and it's really exciting. And that's why I chose to keep this one, because I thought that the first chapter was very interesting. So I think that really works well for Candlestick. It hits them over the head, this big thing that's gonna change everything. And then finally for Dining Room, this one I had to twist a little because there's not really any food aspects of this, I don't think, but I think of dining rooms as places where families gather and you have conversations, and that's where maybe you have some of your arguments and things that happen within your life that are more challenging because you're working together to communicate in those moments. And this has a set of twins and their best friend. So there's very much that family vibe. There's these people that are very, very close to each other. They grew up together, like the twins obviously did, but their best friend, they've known each other since they were kids. And there are going to be some difficult moments between these three characters throughout this book. And so I figured that works really well for Dining Room because they are working together in a lot of ways, sometimes working against each other. But this story definitely revolves around this relationship between these three people. And I think of that as very familial, and the Dining Room, to me, works for that. For my fifth book, I've only got 2 suspects left. Meg as Ms. White. Mrs. White or Dr. Orchid with 2 weapons left. Let's see what she's using. She's using Stewie's ray gun. She's using a revolver. Okay, so that's cute. So Mrs. White using the revolver in which room? In the garage. Which is going to be what? What is the garage going to be? We've got the hall. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go with the hall. I'm gonna say that the garage is the hall because I think of the hall as being like an entrance to the room, also being where maybe you put your jackets and shoes and all the stuff that you use to go in and out of the house. And the garage can act as the same thing for a lot of people. Oftentimes people come into the house through their garage. They might leave their stuff in like a mud room that's attached to the garage or within the garage. So I'm gonna say that the hall and the garage are one and the same for this. So we've got Mrs. White with a revolver and in the hall, and that will be fun to figure out maybe. So for book number 5, we have Mrs. White in the hall with the revolver, or with the revolver in the hall. And the reason I chose Clean Getaway by Nick Stone for this is because with White, Mrs. White, I tend to think of, if I'm thinking about the color again, I think of innocence. White being innocent, also clean. And clean works for that because it's white. I mean, clean itself says white. For the revolver, we have this character Scoob. He got in trouble or something like that. He's supposed to be on lockdown at home, and his grandma takes him on a road trip. And along the way on this road trip, they are going from place to place really fast because I don't know if they're escaping something or they're trying to get away from something. I don't know exactly what's happening. I just know that they're trying to get from one place to the next really quick, and they often leave very fast. So I'm thinking of like a gunshot. You have to go somewhere really quickly. And even one of the lines in here says, Grandma keeps changing license plate, dodging Scoob's questions, and refusing to check Dad's voicemail. So like she's dodging his questions. She's trying to avoid what's coming at him, like dodging a bullet or something like that. So I think that works really well for the revolver. I think, yeah, because they're speeding along, going as quick as they can from one place to the next, and then she keeps dodging the realities of what they're going through. And he's dodged his dad because he wasn't supposed to leave the house. He was supposed to stay home. For Hall, I'm kind of taking it back. I mean, it works for Hall too, but it also kind of works for Garage, which is the one I actually got for Family Guy Clue. Coming and going, Garage coming and going. They're going on a road trip, so they're taking this big old truck with them, and it has a lot to do with traveling. It has a lot to do with not being at home, so leaving the house, leaving the hall. In fact, they ran away in a sense, and so I kind of think that works with Hall. I could probably think of more reasons that it would work for Hall, but oh, and they're hauling ass. They're hauling ass, getting yes, yes. Because look at that. They're hauling ass. They're trying to get away from whatever Grandma's running from. So I did 2 and 2. That was amazing. Okay, that was perfect. Okay, this works really well for this actually. And then for the final book, I already know it's going to have to be Miss Scarlet with the wrench. I'm considering the towel rod a wrench because it is metal and it has been wrenched off the wall and it has like a more utilitarian hardware sort of perspective, like, I don't know. I'm using the towel rod for the wrench. So Lois, aka Miss Scarlet, is using the wrench. And where did she do this ghastly deed? She did it in the kitchen. Oh, nice. Another 1 for 1. Okay. So Lois, aka Miss Scarlet with the wrench in the kitchen. Naughty. And finally, for book number 6, I think this one actually works perfectly for these prompts. It's also a book that has been on many TBRs and I still haven't read it, and I definitely didn't read it last month because I didn't read a lot of books that I was supposed to read last month. And that is Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica, and I'm going to read this book. This is one of my 45 before 45 books. I need to get to it. I keep saying I'm gonna read it and I don't. So for Miss Scarlet, obviously there's red on the cover, and this is a book that will probably make me very angry, and red is a color I tend to think of with anger, make a lot of people angry because it's about a subject that is difficult to read about, because this is the idea of humans becoming the next source of chattel and you consuming human flesh. As far as the wrench aspect of this, I'm sure that this is throwing a wrench into our ideas about how we look at people within society and the perspective of, well, not only livestock and what we eat, what we consume, but how we look at people and how we look at who would be chosen within society to be eaten in this sense when they're using people as the chattel. I think that's definitely going to throw a wrench into the brain, because it's always good to really look at those aspects of society that we tend to sometimes, we know about them, but we don't always focus heavily on them. Seeing that perspective and having somebody really put that out there so you have to think about it, I think that does throw a wrench into a lot of the ways that we maybe view life. And I think that this is going to be a really difficult subject matter. So it's might throw a wrench into my reading when I possibly have a reading slump afterwards. I don't know. I've heard a lot of things about this book, and I know that it's mostly just a difficult topic and it makes people very uncomfortable. So for kitchen, as gruesome as it is, I think it's obvious they're using humans as food. The kitchen is a place where people spend a lot of time working on said food, and unfortunately in this situation, people end up being the food. So I am looking forward to this. I think that I know it's gonna be heavy, and so I put it off because, well, for one, I wanna vlog my experience reading it, and two, I keep prioritizing other books over it. So I've got to figure out a way to make this one happen because I really do want to read it. It's your old friend Editing Amy here, and I completely forgot that I did spin one of the spinner wheels for the challenge. So basically, in order to submit your final guess as to who you think the suspect is, with which weapon, in which room, you have to complete a final challenge. And there are 2 possible challenge wheels. The first one is an activity wheel, and that allows you to do different things. And the other one is a bookish challenge. So there's another spinner wheel where you can spin the wheel and it gives you an extra book or something like that. I decided, because my reading has been not the best lately, that I was gonna go with the activity challenge. And so I spun the spinner wheel, and luckily I came up with something that worked out really great. It actually worked out perfectly. And that is to look back on old photos. And this is perfect because if you've watched my advent calendar challenges, one of the challenges I was supposed to do was to create an album, a photo album for my dad for Christmas. It didn't end up happening. I didn't get it done. I then said maybe I'll do it for his birthday. Well, his birthday is in June, so May would be a perfect time to go through some of those photos, continue working on the photo album, and I'll actually be visiting in July. So I'll get to see him in July, so then I could give him that album if I get it done. So one of the tasks that I'd like to do here in May is to work on that album for him. I'll keep working on it through June, but at least in May, I'll be looking back on all these old photos and kind of deciding which ones I want to go where within the album. And I think that will fulfill the prompt quite a bit. And it actually helps me out a lot because then I'll actually get it done in time for Dad's birthday, or at least for when I see him again. Okay, so since I have to read 6 books for the month of May, that didn't work out. This is where I'll be going. this is my TBR. It looks really big because of Jade Legacy, but I honestly don't think that's going to take me too long to get through because I'm just so excited to read it and I'm so invested in the story. I'm really excited about this stack. I don't feel like reading anything right now, but I'm going to make these ones work, and I'm hoping that May is a fresh month. I'm ready to start anew. I don't know yet that I'll be vlogging Whodunnit because vlogging readathons lately has not felt amazing for me just because I tend to get them out so late and it's just not, I don't know, I'm just kind of, I'm not enjoying that as much, but we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing. I will definitely do a vlog of these for my try chapter. I will definitely do a vlog for this one. I might even do a 5-star prediction vlog. We'll see, but I'm excited about reading these books in May. I'm hoping I get to them. Please let my reading come back. Let me know in the comment section down below if you read any of these books, what you thought about them. Are you excited for me to read any of them? I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe so you can see what happens in the month of May. Will I read all these books? Will it be a success? Will I find out who done it? I really hope so. I've been feeling not as successful at readathons lately, so I just need that like push, that extra push. So let's hope that May brings it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.